Okay, everybody, if you watched the previous very short video on how to keep the engines up and running in the Pilatus PC-24, I told you that I would show you how to do a quick flight in the aircraft. So now that we've got both engines up and running successfully, and they're both continuing to run, and they're not shutting down on us unexpectedly, let's quickly program well, I'm going to call it the flight computer, for lack of a better term, because I'm more of an airline driver. But here we go. In the flight plan, as you're going to go into init, double check databases that we're using good, and that is awesome. Okay, so flight plan. Initialize it. What it does, and again, this is the Honeywell premise, which avionics suite, which a lot of people don't particularly like. And I get that. Get to that in a second. Alright, because it's just not as intuitive as like the Garmin G5000 and the Citation Launch Suit, or the Garmin G1000, for example, for that matter. So we're going to go into this, and remember, we can type into this, but what they really want you to do is utilize this down here, this little screen where you see it says data link MFD swap event. This turns into a touch screen, and the touch screen becomes your keyboard. Alright, so our destination is going to be Grand Rapids, and unfortunately I gotta kind of get things out of view. I'm trying to keep everything in the picture so that you can watch it. So Grand Rapids Kilo Golf Romeo, enter, and there we go. Now that little turquoise call it button that says insert, hit that, boom, now we've got Prestwick to Grand Rapids right there. Okay, now the wind here, the weather here on that Chicago Prestwick Corporate Airport, the wind is out of 200 at about let's see here, 11 knots. So we're going to be utilizing runway 16, and we're not flying on VATSIM, so we're not going to fly a instrument departure. It's just going to be a straight out departure, hang out left, fly east northeast directly to Grand Rapids, and go to 17,000 feet. So since we're staying below 18,000, we can technically fly a VFR flight plan if we want to, because again we're under 18,000. So let's pick runway 16, and the way we do that, let's zoom in a little bit more for those of you watching on a mobile device. We're going to go down, you can see we have all these little things that we can click on. We're going to click on departure. We're going to choose down here in this rectangular box that just popped up, 16 under the word runway 16. Now these are the 3 SIDs, which is standard instrument departure. We're not going to use them. Like I said, we're not on VATSIM, and we're not utilizing the SIM 2024's ATC, let alone the live traffic download system that comes with it, because it's just beyond annoying. So runway 16 is selected under runway, and we're going to hit insert. Now, according to the winds over in Grand Rapids, I do believe they're out of the south. Let me just double check that with Flight Aware. That's what I utilize. And yes, you can pull up weather right here on the spot by hitting weather info. 178, does that match up with the real world? It does, which is good. 292 is the altimeter. Yes. Scroll down just a little bit. Come on. Scroll. There we go. 178. I just like reading the raw meter. I don't like reading the broken down version where it breaks it down for you. But if it helps you, we can do that. Wind 170 degrees at 8. No significant weather. Eye condition visibility 10 statute miles. Broken at 20,000 feet above ground level. Temperature dew point 15. The dew point is 8. Altitude 292. Alright. Very good. Get rid of that. And we're going to utilize... We could utilize runway 35. I'm sorry, runway 17. But we're going to do runway 26 left because it has a full, complete ILS. And we're going to go to knobs, Kilo November. So if you was, I'll do that again. Under runway we choose 26 left. Under approach transition, we can go vectors, which will just take us directly to the runway. Or we can go to the, in this case, 26 left's outer marker. The outer marker is knobs. Right there. Alright, so make sure you got 26 left, ILS 26 left, and knobs. We're going to click insert, and there you have it. There is our flight plan. We have one discontinuity. Click on discontinuity, and you have two little things that pop up on the top. Delete waypoint is what we want. Delete WPT. There we go. Activate. And now we have a fully functioning flight plan. Pretty simple. Again, I know the Honeywell avionics suite. I get it. It's different. I fully understand that. But that's why we're doing this video. Alright, so initialization, that's flight plan. Oops, sorry. We're going to type in altitude. We're not going up to that. No, not even close. We could take this little thing and dial it down, and we should be able to, but that doesn't work. So we're going to come into this little box. As you can see, the little keyboard that popped up, it gives you a title. In this case, initialize cruise altitude. Alright. That's going to be FL. So we type in FL for flight level 170 and enter. Back up here. There you go, 17,000 feet. Cruising at 0.73. That's actually a little too fast. That's actually right on our overspeed. So we're going to take care of that. We're going to say 270. 270. Enter. And that is in the box. Alright. Fuel and weight. We're going to tell it we have one passenger. One passenger. And the weight of the passenger. Alright, we're going to go by airline winter numbers here, which I believe one adult in winter time is, depending on the airline, is 195 pounds. We're going to say 215 pounds because they had checked baggage, hypothetically. And it keeps us on the safe side. Cargo. Alright, let's say we have some cargo. Let's say it's, I don't know, 300 pounds of cargo. Let's just put that in there. Again, this is more for your, this is just more of an FYI. We don't have to do it this way. with those specific numbers. 2913, our total fuel at the moment, 2950. So we're going to dial in 2,900 because that's what it's going to be once we get out to the runway. So 2,000. Yeah, it'll be lower than that. So 2,890. That's more accurate. Because one of the problems in this is, I say cargo. What did I say, 350? Let's say 3. Let's just keep it easy. 300. Enter. Alright. Compute. In the bottom left corner. Compute. Computing. And done. Go to our takeoff page. Here we got the proper V speeds. V1, 95. VR, 96, V2, 105. That's all good. Transition altitude is 18,000, but like I said, we're not going to be going that high. We're going to hit send. Now, watch what happens. When I click send, it's going to come over here and we're going to see it populate in the speed ape on the left side of the PFD. Alright? Send. And there we go. There we go. Let's go ahead and turn on our flight director. And we're going to be utilizing heading, but we'll do that once we get out of the runway. I believe the heading out there is 163, but we'll do it once we get out the runway. Alright. And again, this video is for those of you that just want to get into the PC-24 and operate it as best as you can. We're not looking for perfection. We're just looking to have some fun with the aircraft. Because if you can't have fun with it, then what's the point, right? We want to have some fun. And that is the purpose of the video. Yeah, it's to give us, you know, instruction as to how to get things up and running, but the overall premise is to have fun. That's, if it's not fun, then again, what is the point? So let's go into our checklist here before takeoff. Brakes, we'll be testing those in just a minute. Flight instrumentation, avionics. Okay, we'll finish this checklist here once we get out there. Begin a taxi. We'll check our brakes out there. Windshield anti-ice, we already got this up to high, auto. Bleed both sides, IPS, auto. And as you can see, our mode for our cabin altitude descent climb, those don't work. I mean, even if they did, well, that's something else that we'll see. The other significant issue with this aircraft is that the environmental system doesn't work right. Not even close. When I say not even close. If we have 17,000 feet, it's going to pressurize the aircraft to like 15,000 feet above sea level ASL. I mean, that's just ridiculous. It doesn't work either. So we're going to be running into some things that don't work, and I'm going to say, okay, well, that's just the way it is. But anyway, 1200, and we can leave that squawk 1200 if we want, because we're flying VFR this evening. Again, this is just to have fun. I cannot express that more. This is just to get this aircraft that has a lot of flaws, a lot of squawks, how to get up and running so that you can get out there and just have fun with it. Alright. Let's turn on our taxi lights. And we're just gonna do with what we have. Alright. Here's a parking brake. And all the brakes with your, as you can see, I'm pushing down with my rudders there. hold it, because if you release the parking brake, this aircraft, even at idle, it'll continue. It'll begin to roll. All right. All right. While we're at it, we'll just set flaps for takeoff. All right. And before I forget, let's go ahead and just double check the flight controls. And there's not like we can really see them, but that's good. All right. And make sure speed brake is in. Is that in the auto position? Technically, yes. Does it work correctly? No, it doesn't. Like I said, we're just gonna do with what we have. And are we? Let me look here real quick. One other thing. Altitude on standby. Altitude ground. Good. Alright. A lot of things that are wrong. Alright, let's get this thing rolling. And we'll be on our way very quickly. Very, very quickly. Alright. And can we make the turn? And in avoiding that building? Yes. This aircraft, to get it moving, sometimes you gotta give it an unrealistic amount of thrust. Why is that? Why is it the preservation system doesn't work right? Why is it that the V speeds don't calculate quite right? Why is it that there's a couple of other issues that don't work quite right? Why is it that the handling doesn't work quite right? Clearing that left wing. Yes, we are. Because when they developed the PC-24, they were utilizing the PC-12 data, believe it or not. So that's why so many things, so many systems simply do not work. All right. Flight director is on, and like I said, this is simply a straight-out departure. I'll hand fly it until we get, until we intercept our course to Grand Rapids, and then I'll activate the autopilot. And again, another thing that you'll find out, you may be saying, what about the thrust and the inability to hold a speed that we set or preset? That doesn't work that well either. Again, they just put it together as quickly as possible, and they dumped in PC-12 data instead of going out and grabbing the real data from the PC-24 itself. Alright? That is simply what happened. Let's go from this view up here so we can really see where our nose is. Tap the brakes, we've already done that. Then we can go through the before takeoff checklist and say and go good, alright? Alright, and on my throttles are not even close to idle yet. We're stopped already. Sometimes it begins to roll by itself, sometimes it doesn't. Again, just a big bug. Alright, before takeoff checklist. Brakes tested and set. Yep. Flight instrumentation and avionics. Yep. Gas up here, which is directly above this little checklist box. See that in the upper left corner? Let me zoom in for those of you watching on a mobile device. Gas is blank. Alright. But it's clear, which means check. Lights. What happened to that? Lights as required. That means right up here. We'll turn on the wing lights, strobes, and beacon. And we'll turn on our landing lights. There we go. And I believe we are checklist complete. after takeoff, we'll pull it up, and then we'll deal with it once we get on our way. The yaw damper, we'll turn that on just as soon as we get the when the gear's on the way up. We'll turn on the yaw damper. All right. Activate the auto throttle. Very good. Again, this is for those of you that just want to take the PC-24 up and have fun with it flying from A to B, not wanting to follow procedure after procedure specific because this aircraft simply doesn't function well. It's just there. This video is just to help you get out there and use it if you have it. This is not like a video that I'll do with the PMDG 777, where it is very in-depth. Alright, lined up. And we'll get a no takeoff warning. That's a glitch. They haven't fixed it yet. It has nothing to do with you missing something. No, that's a glitch that they have to fix. Alright, we're going to push heading, because that's what we're going to be flying, and then we're going to be making a left turn and intercepting our route to Grand Rapids, Michigan. Alright. And we're going to go. Yeah, just ignore the any warnings. It's not accurate. I mean, look at the acceleration. You'd think this is an F-18. I mean, the whole thing is quite. And yeah, you can stall warning. No, and the airplane wants to go to the right, even though the crosswind is from the right. It wants to go into the crosswind. I don't think so. Okay, landing gear positive, gear up, please. Yes, I understand. It turns on the parking brake, which is very annoying, but that's what it does. Alright, let's see. It's just very, wow, it's just extremely unstable. But as soon as you get trimmed out, pitch for 240 on the speed, because we're going to be utilizing flight level change mode, which is a very good way to avoid overspeeding. Very, very good way to prevent that. And if you don't know what overspeeding is, that simply means in the United States you cannot fly faster than 250 knots if you are below 10,000 feet. Alright. Looking good. Arm our nav mode on the autopilot. And as soon as that line begins to move, there it is. Auto change mode on the thrust, put on the autopilot, sorry, and autopilot. There we go, and we are now on our way to Grand Rapids. Already passing 7,500 feet, which is, yeah, not, realistic. I mean, again, it flies, it handles like it's got afterburners, like it's an F-18. In reality, it isn't, obviously. Alright. We're on F-104. Choose your poison. Alright. That's looking good. Let's go through our after takeoff checklist. Positive, vertical speed, brakes at landing gear up. Yep. Yaw damper is on. Flaps up. MCP is already set. The checklist also, by the way, the checklist is incorrect. it also needs to be completely overhauled. I mean, the NCP, that should be on the, technically it should be on the before taxi checklist, but it is what it is. Landing taxi lights off, well, only once you get above 10,000 feet, so they're wrong there as well. Checklist complete. Alright, fine. Okay, now we're going to say we're above 10,000. We're going to go over to the speed knob, if you will. Set for 270, and as long as you have it set for FLC flight level change, it's going to pitch for that speed. So look over here. Does it do a good job holding that speed? No. Is it going to do a good job holding that speed once we level off at 17,000 feet? No. It'll do a horrible job. It just doesn't do it right. Doesn't do it. And if you're wondering about, also, you saw me fiddling with the transponder mode standby to altitude TARA. The TARA, that doesn't happen until you take off. It's an automated system. Is it correct? I highly doubt it. That's one thing I'm not 100% certain. I'm 99.999% certain it does not work that way in the real world. Period. Alright. We'll get this set up for landing here in a minute. Because we're going to be there before you know it. One thing that I do see often, someone might say, how do I expand the view or the range of the map? Not that. And there's any of those. See this little box here, the semicircle with this 20? Take your mouse, hold the button, drag it up, bigger, smaller. That's how you do it. Alright. That's where we are. Weather. Let's turn on the next rad, which is the live feed. Terrain, I believe is already on. Yeah. DGS is already on. We do that. Alright. Rolling 270. That's actually not that bad for this aircraft. Usually it's all over the place. Alright. And the funny part is, the cabin altitude, this is the first time for me anyway, whereby it's actually kind of working. It's usually in the red zone, and the cabin is usually at about 15 to 16,000 feet ASL. It's actually working this time. That's impressive. So that's a good thing. That is a good thing. All right. Let's go to the chart, because we're going to be in Grand Rapids before you know it. Now, if we have any turbulence, because right now, what are the winds? Wind hitting us right directly to the hitting the right side of the aircraft. 9. The tailwind of 28 knots. So our ground speed, we are kicking butt. Ground speed is 382. Let's see, Mach number 0.55. I'll take that. I'll take that any day of the week. Alright, let's bring up the charts. And here's how you do that. With the Honeywell avionics suite here, if you're not able to see it clearly on the video, my apologies. Sincere apologies. That's just the way it is. The very bottom, so we have all these various buttons. We can go center the waypoint, skip, we can recall a waypoint, current message, right now we have one, and the message wasn't, well, we won't even get into that. BSD, check it out. Regular situation display, but there's nothing to display. So, anyway, under that, we have charts. Alright. Charts. Now, up here, you see it says at the very top, KPWK, or, okay, so that's our origin was Chicago Expressway. We're going to change that. Destination, Grand Rapids. Immediately pulls up the ground chart, which is nice. We're going to zoom in on that chart by hitting zoom. I'm going to show you very quickly what runway we're going to be utilizing for landing. ILS 26 left, there it is right here. And we're going to see how well this aircraft functions with a crosswind, if it functions normally or not. Anyway, this is obviously a European chart because everything is in meters, so 3,048 meters. We're going to go into, if you look across the top of the screen here, airport, SIDS or approach. We want to approach, luckily, by design, I should say. We have the ILS or localizer 26 left chart already pulled up. Right after clicking approach, we're going to zoom in just a bit, and we can move it around. Just hold your left mouse button down, and you can move it all around. Okay. We're going to go for our localizer via, let's see here, zoom in a little bit more. There we go. It's not a category 1. I'm close. What we will do, this aircraft is rated down to minimums of, I believe it's on the category. I have to look it up, but I do know we can do our localizer. Meaning not the one without, again, this is, well, there's one way, there's two ways to do this, but we'll use 1120 as our decision, because the weather in Grand Rapids is, let's just pull up the weather real quick. I do believe the visibility is, did they change it a little bit? Visibility is 10,000 miles. Alright. 1120. And that is a little dial in here. 1120. And where do you do that? It's kind of in a very, very unusual location. Is up here in the on the MCP panel, way over here under minimums. I know, it's bizarre. Alright, we're gonna dial this down over to 2982. Of 2982. Well, I just did that on purpose. We do that here. Minimum sees this push rate out there in barrel. Okay, we're going to be doing it. We're going to be resetting our barometer to 2982. Alright. That's how confusing this avionics suite can be, because you just look at baro and you go, oh, that's the, I don't know. You know, your actual barometer for your altitude, your altimeter, it's over here. To set minimums is way over here. Crazy, I know. That's why a lot of people, person that I know of, Kermit Weeks, he just purchased in real life, he just purchased a PC-12, and there's a video up on his channel current week's fantasy flight down between Orlando and Tampa and Florida. And even they're talking about various things, avionics, autopilot, that kind of stuff. They have a massive do not utilize Honeywell. Use Garmin. Just don't do Honeywell. Just rip it out, get it. So that is what they're doing at a MRO up in Thunder Bay, Canada, which is just on the north side of Lake Superior. So we're going to set the minimum for 1120. And yes, it is barometric pressure 1120. There we go. Alright, let's go back to the map. And let's see here. We could do VNAV if we wanted to do it. We need to be at knobs, we need to be there at 2,700 feet. 3-degree bank and all that fun stuff, but it needs to be at 280. That's just not acceptable. Let's look here. Yeah, that's just not gonna be 2,700. We want to change the speed. It doesn't allow us to do that. It only allows us to go ahead and apply that. Activate. We don't want to be there at 280 knots. It doesn't allow you to change that, does it? See? It doesn't. I'd like to do that, but it doesn't allow me to do it. See? Everything else is grayed out. So something else that doesn't work on this thing. So let's go ahead and slow it way down. Another reason I chose 26 left. We're going to slow this aircraft way down because we should begin to descend we should have begun to descend, but many things about the aircraft simply have prohibited us from doing it. We're going to set the altitude down to 3,000 feet, and we're going to tell it. Let's see. Let's go ahead and tell it 200 knots initially, and then we're going to say VS, vertical speed. VS it down at, let's say 2,100 feet per minute. It might be a little much. Well, they're 2,000 feet of that. Let's see what happens. 200 knots. It's doing a pretty good job. The way this aircraft handles with regard to descent, it's really amazing that we're not flying any faster than we are, because we are descending from 270 knots and we're doing 2,100 feet per minute down, and it continues to slow down without me utilizing the speed brakes, aka spoilers. Let's go through our next checklist before landing. Let's bring that up. Altimeter, we've got that already set to 2982. Landing and taxi lights, we never turn them off. Passenger signs, we never turn them off. Landing gear and speed brake arm. Let me just say one thing. The speed brake arm. Alright. Here's the lever for the speed brake. Technically, the current position, see how I can go left with it? And I can go right with it. Alright, you bring it this way to use it, right? well, we don't want to use it. And you gotta pull the opposite direction to get it where you want it to be. In theory, in the real world, this should be in the current position, and that would be automatic. So it would be armed. However, they did not simulate that in this aircraft, Asobo. They did not simulate that whatsoever. So when you land, I could be wrong, but after all the research I've done on this, when you land, you want to have a key binding, whether it's on your keyboard or on your in my case, the throttle quadrant that I have from SciTech. Key binding, so that when you land, you can immediately take it and it will extend the air brakes all the way up. Okay, 200 knots, almost at 200. And let's go ahead and zoom in. Again, you gotta hold your mouse button and drag it down to zoom in. I have fiddled around with the vertical navigation of this aircraft, and it's really, really bad. It will not hold a speed well whatsoever. It just doesn't. So I'm gonna say manually. When I say that, I mean via controlling the autopilot directly, instead of having things very neatly pre-programmed so that you can utilize VNav and not have to think about constantly changing your speed, changing your vertical speed. This is, for me at least, this is the easiest way to control something that doesn't work as it should. Alright, we're pretty much almost abreast from the airport. Can we see it yet? Let's see, it looks like downtown, the airport should be visible. Zoom out a little more. Yeah, it should be directly off to our left. I don't see it. Do you? I don't. It should be right there. Well, that's another glitch that Asobo might want to address. Let's see outside real quick. Oh, I see. We flew directly over. Huh. Okay. Interesting. We flew directly over it, but the map says we flew south of it. Alright, well, there's glitch number 1972. Just kidding. I don't know how many glitches this thing has. That's heading. Spool it up. Go into heading mode. And let's go 08. Let's go 09. All the way down to 2,700 feet. Let's see how, let's see what it does with 2,500 feet a minute. Yep, we're flying right over knobs, which is the outer marker, so that's why you're hearing that. Let's hit the speed brake just a little bit. That helps. Whoa, that really helps. A little bit of overkill, if you ask me, but alright. Alright. I can see there's a nice slope. And we're going to meaning let's go ahead and begin the turn to the left. And we'll slow it up. As soon as we get done turning this little boat around, we'll slow it up. Okay, 190 on speed. And we are switching over to localizer 1 on a nav select. Look 1, there it is. Now I can see we have a localizer instead of the path of the route. We're going to slow way up. Flaps 8, please. Alright. So let's slow it down to 180. Alright. Yeah, it just doesn't, the handling is just really bizarre, isn't it? And the way the map shows you where you are is technically not 100% accurate as to your relative position, which is very annoying. But again, trying to make this fun. Showing you that because a lot of you that utilize this aircraft in career mode, hopefully this helps. I really do hope that it helps. Alright, we're going to switch over to, we're going to arm the approach feature of the autopilot. Let's see how well it intercepts the localizer. 180, let's throw it up to 170 actually. Let's see how well it... Yeah, those throttles are just all over the place. Glide slope, we're well below it. And the reason we are so far below the glide slope is because with this aircraft and the autopilot and the way it lags, if you hit the glide slope more on the nose, so to speak, meaning slow but closer to the airport, sometimes it doesn't even capture the glide slope. It just, the glide slope just goes right through the center, and it doesn't even capture it. Alright, there's the airport. The field is in sight. Let's slow it way down to 1. Let's see what we gotta do here. 1, 2, no. Let's do 120. Let's do 120. Outer marker there. Next notch flaps. And landing gear down, please. Just make sure that the parking brake does not get activated. It sure did. You always gotta double check that. For some odd reason, sometimes the parking brake turns on once you let's go ahead and reset this. Where go around heading and go around altitude. Go around altitude is 4,000 feet according to the chart. Flying the glide and the localizer. Full flaps, I do believe, is in order. Now the speed, all of a sudden, is not the speed that we got from the meteoric report. Not even close. Not even close. Speed is right now, according to FlightAware, is 170 at 8, and we've got a had a wind of 23 knots according to this, and a crosswind of 22, so we are not. The simulator is downloading very, very bad data, and the autopilot is having a hard time keeping it on center. Because with this kind of wind, you really should not be landing with a full set of flaps, but we will. Landing gear, speed brake is good, checklist is complete. We'll set full flaps, because otherwise the stall warning is going to continue to go on and on and on. Alright, this is going to act crazy, so I'm going to disengage the throttle as well as the goddamn I was my airplane. Holy moly, it just went nuts. Look at that. It is not handling like a real airplane should. And again, the actual wind component is 170. 170 at 8 knots. This business of 28 knots. That's ridiculous.
100.
Alright. And the landing lights do not show the runway whatsoever.
Stall.
Not a stall. Good grief. Not a stall at all. Okay, speed brakes. Gotta do it manually, remember that. And the airplane's gonna be all over the runway. Good grief. And I have full right rudder and it's not even doing anything. Yeah. This airplane needs a lot of work. A lot of work. And all of a sudden the wind component is 13 out of the south, 14. Yeah, it's just all around bad. So the aircraft needs a lot of work, Asobo. Those of you listening, I mean, a ton of work needs to be done. My goodness. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, airplanes, they don't even handle like that. That's even if you're brand new and you didn't learn how to fly real aircraft. I was fortunate enough to do real aircraft years ago. They just don't, airplanes don't function that way. And now I've got to give it a significant amount of thrust just to keep the aircraft rolling. Is that accurate? No, not even close. What it's doing is, as soon as I idle the thrust, it acts like I'm hitting the brakes. See? It slows down very quickly. That is not realistic. Not even close. Alright, we'll take this turn off right here. And we've already cleaned up the airplane, but we'll go ahead and turn off the lights, landing lights, and strobes. And then we'll proceed to parking. We'll just park over here at the what should be signature. Yeah, alright, let's go ahead and turn up the, I don't know why the aircraft stopped. Okay, landing lights off and strobes off, wing lights off. Okay. Well, everybody, that is what a flight is like. That landing was just ridiculous because aircraft don't handle like that. They don't want to go into the wind. And again, the wind data that the PFD was giving us is 100% wrong. The wind is 170 at 8, and we had a 28, what was it, 27, 28 knot crosswind, when that isn't even the case. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Just trying our very, very best here to show you how to have a good time. with the aircraft. My suggestion, if you want to fly and have a good time, if you're not using career mode, disable the live weather and make sure you don't have any weather happening. Just make sure it's all severe clear, no wind, and you'll have a good time. Again, airplanes do not operate like that at all. We'll park here in this building that. Okay, here we go. Let's look at the. See, parking brake is on. And our shutdown checklist should be very, very straightforward. Parking brake is sweep brake is stretch flaps up. Yep. Landing taxi lights are off. Taxi lights off. Engine master switch is off. Drive motor, real quick, for those of you that are wondering, drive motor, to the best of my recollection, you can, in the real world, you can drive motor, meaning you can run the engine at a very low rate. Now, since in the reason you can do that, and the reason behind that, real quick little FYI classroom here. The aircraft does not have an APU, auxiliary power unit. However, you can run like the right engine, drive motor it, and it runs the engine to a very low, very low RPM, and it gives you enough electricity to run to start the aircraft, and it might even give you enough air, bleed air to operate the environmental system. So anyway, just a little FYI. Okay, off and off. So these two screens will go away. Oxygen off. Passenger signs off. The reason I skipped a little ahead is because I know that when those engines go off, this screen is going to go off. Passenger signs off. Oxygen is off. The generator and battery switches are off. Gens. Where is this? Generator 2. I don't see it. Not even close. I can't see it. Let me scoot over here. Did we get it? We did. Okay. And as you this the checklist is bye-bye, it's gone. Okay, so yeah, a lot of work needs to be done without question. All right, nav okay, beacon light that goes off completely. What else we got going here? Battery switches. Yeah, okay, we can turn off the cabin lights. Make sure we got everything else in the off. Everything else. Okay. Reminds me of my days flying a Tomahawk when I began flying lessons for real back in the day, over 30 years ago. Hard to believe. All right. Off. Good. Do flow real quick. All right. That is that. And we'll turn batteries. Well, you know what? The batteries are not going anywhere anytime soon. Let's hop out and take a look at the aircraft real quick, and then we'll say sayonara. See all of you a little later. Let's see here. Alright, let's get out of here. Whoa, they basically throw you out of the airplane. Alright, welcome to Grand Rapids, Michigan, everybody. Home of this Pilatus PC-24, because there is a Pilatus operator and MRO in Grand Rapids, Michigan. To the best of my knowledge, I do believe. And there she is. Okay, so, well, as always, hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I made it nice and quick. so all of you can figure out how to not just start the engines and get the engines up and running, and keep them running, but also how to operate the avionics suite for a very short flight across the pond. In this case, my pond is Lake Michigan. So, with all that being said, have a good one, have a good evening, good day, good morning, wherever you happen to be in the world, and we'll see you very soon. Thank you again, and if you enjoyed the video, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe. We're going to get this channel back up and running the way that it should. We've simply been very, very busy at home and on the farm doing all kinds of fun stuff because of the economy. So, as always, have a good one again. Thanks for watching. Fly safe. Frequency change approved.